Hi, I'm Dana, and since the content's been a little heavy on the channel lately, I thought today I'd just do a fun little sort of like friendship advice video. This isn't like solid advice for one, because I'm not the best at making friends. It's something I've only recently managed to actually do. Because yeah, it's the first time in my life that I have like really solidly good friends that I actually feel good being around and feel like actually like me and I think possibly the first time that I have friends that actually genuinely do like me, hopefully. We still get a little nervous, but you know, it's better than it has been. So I thought I'd try and share some advice from like an autistic perspective for the autistic people, because a lot of advice is literally like, just meet people and make friends with them, and it's like, how? So hopefully this will be a little bit of the how. Getting right in on it, you gotta meet people. Like, I know I just said that's bullshit advice, but it is true. And I'm going to give you some excess advice, because for me, you've got to find the latch point. That's what I do. I find one person and I make all my friends through them. So for me, with my current little friendship group, I met my ex-girlfriend on Tinder, and then she took me to a party of like a friend of hers, and then I met people at the party and started talking to people, and that's on to the person that's now my housemate, and then I've made all my other friends through him, and it's been great. But that's very much what I mean. You have to find like the jumping on point to be invited to something, to meet people, and it's fucking rough. It's real fucking hard. I didn't do it for like 9 years. I totally get how difficult it is. So my advice for that, and this isn't sponsored, but it should be, because there's now an app called Hiki. I haven't tried it myself, but it's specifically for like neurodivergent people to meet people and make friends. So you could give that a go. You could use Tinder. There's plenty of people on Tinder that just have in their bio like, I'm here for friends, I'm not here for whatever else. And that's probably plausible. Like I say, I technically, in a roundabout way, met my friends through my ex-girlfriend who I met on Tinder. So it's not the most impossible way of doing it, but please don't start a relationship with someone to make friends, that's awkward. And you can of course also use like Bumble, which is like meant more so for friends, I think. I don't know if it's like queer people or just for friends, but there's lots of people looking for friends on Bumble. There's also Facebook groups, and believe me, it's one of those things, like I know that for a lot of us it's really stepping out of our comfort zones, and it's fucking horrible. Like, it's really fucking hard. You've got to message people and then organise things and like have small talk with people, and it's real fucking hard. But it's also, you know, if you want to have friends, it's one of those things that you sort of do gotta do, and it is worth doing. That being said, I will also add that I've always said, like, I don't get how you're meant to meet people as an adult, because you can't just like go to the club on your own and meet people. But having said that, having like recently gone out to some places with my friends and stuff, there have been times where like there's just someone on their own that'll just come over and have a chat, and they're just out and about on their own, and they like, you know, meet people and make friends like that. Like, it does happen. I would never ever do it personally, so it feels a bit mean to like offer it up as advice. But I've seen other people do it and seen that it can succeed, and spoken to them myself and be like, oh, you're cool, it's nice, you know? But I mostly had trouble meeting people because as adults you don't meet people as much, you know? Like when I was in college and when I was in school and like when I was seeing people more regularly, like if I had a job, I'm sure it'd be the same still. When I was just in more contact with people, I didn't feel like it was that difficult for me to make a friend. It was difficult for me to build a genuine friendship with them. It was difficult for me to like then actually maintain that friendship and continue being friends with people. And this is where I think I might actually have some really solid advice, because I think that was happening to me largely because I just went out looking for people to be friends with. I just wanted friends. If I could generally like have a conversation with them and get on with them, I was like, okay, we can be friends. And it's one of those things where rather than looking for people for you to be friends with, you sort of have to look for people that you actually would want to be friends with, you know? Like, I think that the reason I really like, I'm enjoying and like and feel like I fit in with the friend group that I have now is that they're all people where I'm genuinely like, oh my god, this person's so cool. Like, I can't believe these people are my friends, they're all so fucking cool. And like, I've never been the type to like befriend people that I don't think are cool in some way, or people that I don't like in some way, you know? But I definitely went out just looking for people that would like put up with me, more so than looking for like the people that I actively wanted to be friends with. And I feel like that really bit me in the ass a lot of times. And I still feel like there's a fairly good chance that in like a year or two I'll be sat here telling you about how this one like bit me in the ass as well, and I was wrong about all of this. But we have hope, and we have a hell of a lot of hope that we've learned something or another over the last like 26 years of being alive. But finding people that you actively want to be friends with makes it so much easier to maintain relationships and friendships with them and to actually build the friendship. Because it's like, these people are so interesting, I want to know more about them, you know? It's not like in past friendships where I've been sat there and been like, I don't know what to ask this person, I don't know how to make conversation, I'm really bored, or whatever. It's like, I want to know, like, well, what about this thing about your life? How about this? How do you like this thing? You know, there's constant things that I want to ask and that I can create a conversation around. And I'll give that, that's also something that I've had to learn, because I used to be the type where, you know, like, you've figured out how to make a conversation, you've brought up the topic, and I would just really stick on that topic because it's the conversation topic. I've started a conversation, and it's a skill that I've sort of had to just like learn and pick up naturally along my way. I don't think it's something I could really dish out any sort of advice on in any way. It's very much something I've just sort of like naturally picked up on. And it's another one of those things that I feel like everyone else like picked up on as like a 13-year-old and I'm just now getting onto. But just being able to like naturally move the conversation somewhat naturally. I'm still awkward, don't get me wrong, like it's not like I've got like the best mask ever, and I'm also trying to unmask around people more and actually be myself around my friends, so I'm definitely like reasonably awkward, you know. It's not always like the smoothest of topic transitions or whatever, but I've definitely learned how to socialise better, you know. And it's so much easier to socialise with people that you actually are excited to socialise with. And that's one of those things where like I feel like a lot of people watching this video are going to be like, those people don't exist, they're not there. And I get that, because it's the first time in my life that I've ever been actually excited and look forward to socialising with people. Like, it actually happens. Like, I'm going to a party this weekend that I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna let that sink in for a moment, because it's still sinking in for me. Like, I'm genuinely like, oh, I can't wait to see who's there, you know? And like, I'm a little bit anxious, tiny bit anxious, because that's who I am, and I'm probably gonna have a bit of a meltdown the day, but my makeup isn't going right and everything's going wrong, but I'm going to like go to the party and most probably enjoy it a lot, and I'm definitely feeling somewhat excited for it. And that's 100% because like I've found good people, so I can be excited to socialise and be excited to like meet new people through them and the like. You know, and there's just so much of friendship that I thought was just always going to be uncomfortable and going to be difficult. And like, there's definitely still parts that are, but like, damn it, it's just so much fucking easier when you choose good people to actually be friends with. And like I say, I know how difficult it is to find them. I'm 26 and just now I'm like, I think I've met good people for the first time in my life, you know? Like, I get it, but also like, they are definitely out there, I reckon, I think. Fingers crossed. But like, so many of my struggles with maintaining friendships was that I wouldn't reply to people's messages, and then I wouldn't like organise to hang out with them, and then it's been like 3 years since we last spoke, you know? And it's like, that's just not going to happen with the people that I'm friends with at the minute, because I want to message them, I want to ask how they are, I want to see how their lives are going. I get invited to things, you know? Like, that's another one. It's like, you should look for it to be the two-way street. I've had so many friendships where like either the other person's putting in all the effort and I'm like, I need to go along with it to some degree because they're a perfectly fine person, like there's nothing wrong with them, they're not mean, they're not nasty, like they're a nice enough person, but we have very little in common and I'm not that interested in them, and that's not fair on them. And like, the other side of that is I've had so many friendships where I'm constantly the person that's like, shall we hang out, shall we do this, how are you doing, how's your day going? Like, one of my longest friendships ended because I stopped messaging the person every day. You know, like I stopped messaging first and they just didn't message me. I think there's been a lot of times that I've like really blamed myself for not maintaining the friendship or not building the friendship, when the reality is that like the other person didn't want to and I was being quite pushy anyway. And my final bit of advice is sort of like a subgenre to that, which is that you've got to be a good friend. And that's definitely something I'm still learning. I am about to give advice on how to be a good friend, but I'm not doing it thinking that I'm any sort of like, I can't think of any words to describe it. Like, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or be like, I'm a good friend. I'm consistently trying to learn how to be a better friend, because I haven't had that many friends. I haven't been a friend to that many people, and a lot of the people I was friends with were sort of really shitty to me, so even if I was a half decent friend, it didn't matter. So I am very, very much still learning how to be a good friend to people, and it's definitely another one that's like massively assisted by being interested in them, because that is part of being a good friend. A good friend should be interested in like you and your life and your hobbies and interests, and it's very easy to do that if you actually are. Like, that's the thing, is like, as an autistic person, as like someone who's like struggling to make friends a lot of the time, it's so easy to just sort of settle for like, well, they're a nice person, when like there's just not the connection of friendship there, and it's just not worth it. But I also have to like really shove my anxiety down sometimes, because it can feel like really difficult to message someone first. It can be hard to get back to messages. It can be really difficult to be like, hey, we should hang out. It can be difficult to show up to the hangouts, you know? And I also often worry about being too much, because I'm quite... See, I feel like I'm internally very intense. Like, I really fucking love my friends. Like, I love them. And I don't think they necessarily all really know that. Like, they definitely know I like them and care about them and the like. But I don't think that, like, I really fully show how much, like, I absolutely adore them. Like I had some friends around for dinner last night, and they were, like, obviously my housemate's also my friend, and we're all, like, a little group of friends. It's really nice. It's what I've always wanted. So, like, they were sat on my couch, and I'd cooked them food, I'd baked a cake, and they were laughing together with a glass of wine. And I was just like, damn, look at them. Like, look at them. I love them. It makes me so happy to see them happy. And I love, like, doing little bits like that for them. But I do also get very, very worried that, like, I'm doing too much, or that I'm being weird, or that... Mostly that I'm being too much. That it's just... You know, because I think I get attached to people quite quickly, and I get very like ride or die, like I'm loyal to people, and other people don't necessarily form that same type of bond or form it as quickly. So it can obviously be a lot for people if I'm like, oh my god, you're my best friend, I love you, and they're like, we're friends. So I restrain myself a lot and try not to be too much and try not to be weird and try not to put it out there. But then I do also wonder if that's not being a very good friend, and if like possibly they're feeling the same way. And like, it's one of those where like you figure it out on a person to person basis. Every person is different, and you will be a slightly different friend to each person in regards to like what they need. But it's figuring out the mixture of like, do they also provide you with what you need? Is providing them with what they need also something that you can and feel like good about doing? You know, because like I've had a lot of friends that I've provided support to, I've been like, this is bitchy, this is mean. But you know the people where it's just like, oh, you have another issue. And I'd never ever say it to them. Like, I've never been like that with anyone. I wouldn't, it's horrible. But I've definitely had the friends where, like, every time they've messaged me, it's just been a new issue. And I've listened, and I've offered support, and I've offered, like, my emotional sympathy and whatever else that's, like, necessary for the conversation because they're my friend. But it's also, like, I didn't fucking want to, you know? Like, I'm just like, oh, this again, this is so much effort. And then with the friends I've got now, if they come to me with an issue, like, it's one of those things, all of my friends are queer and or neurodivergent, so we have issues, you know? And it doesn't feel like so much effort to provide them, like, the support and, like, a listening ear to, like, do something a little special for them. It doesn't feel like so much to provide being a good friend to them, when it's like, I like this person, I want to see them happy, and I want to see them supported, and I can offer them that. And it just... Even if they're coming to me with like issue after issue, I don't have that same reaction of like, oh, another issue, you know? I'm like, oh shit, another issue, how can I help? I think this entire video is me being like, you need to find good people. But it's little bits of advice like that I could have done with hearing to find good people sooner. You know, I've got on there and it's been alright, and I love the people I'm around now. Could have done with hearing all of this and learning all of this a little bit earlier. So fingers crossed I provided that for someone else in this video. I don't know. The last video I uploaded, oh, it's actually the last one that went up. I don't have anything scheduled right now. So like, when you've watched my last video, obviously a lot of the comments at the minute are like, we've all had horrible experiences with friends and being manipulated by people, and like, a lot of us are very like, we don't want to make friends anymore, we don't want to be around people. I get that, and that's valid. You know, like, I'm not telling you that you have to be or you should be, but also if you've watched this far into the video, I assume you probably do kind of want to make some friends and do want to be around people. So I hope this can be a little bit of encouragement as well, and a little bit of like proof But like, it can happen. Like, autistic people can have really good friendship groups and can like make friends and go out into the world and be people, and like, it's all good, you know? It's not. Lots of it's very, very difficult, but lots of things can be very, very good as well. I kind of want to get my friends to get in on videos more, because obviously, like I say, a lot of them are also neurodivergent in some way, and a bunch of them are diagnosed autistic. And I think it's really interesting, and like, they got to this point way earlier than I did, you know, like they've already been friends for a while, and some of them are also a couple of years younger than me, and I'm like, yo, like, how'd you do that? You did that well. But like, I don't know. I feel very weird filming around people, and it seems very weird to be like, I'm a YouTuber, can be in my video. So like, real life people, especially now that some of them have like seen me on TikTok and shit. Oh. The algorithm like automatically shows you the people in your area though, so it's not like I'm like actually a big deal. I got 1 million views. Okay, that's the video. You can pay me on Patreon and Ko-fi if you'd like to support me monetarily. If you'd like to support me for free, the easiest way, the nicest way, the way that I support people, not like the way that I support other content creators, you can subscribe, you can like this video, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. They're my favourite ways of supporting me. Like, I love it when people give me money because I'm a broke ass bitch, but most of us are broke ass bitches. And not to assume that you're a bitch, you might not be, but like, if you're a bitch, you know, I get that loads of us are broke, you don't have to pay me, but it'd be really nice if you did subscribe. I love it when people subscribe. But for now, oh, and I upload on Thursdays and Sundays too, like actually regularly, like all the time. Like, I haven't missed the upload in like ages. I'm doing quite well I'm not doing well for myself. I'm being productive and receiving basically nothing in return other than validation from strangers on the internet, and I love it. So whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.